welcome to the Thursday edition of the newspaper review segment of Good Morning Africa. This show, as usual, is live from our studios at number 48 Monica Street in Abelinkwe. Also in 46 other African countries via satellite. You can watch us in some parts of Europe and, of course, some parts of South America. Special greetings to the good people up north in northern Ghana, upper east, upper west, the Savannah region, the northern region, the northeast region. We thank you so much for always making it a point to tune into Pan-African television. My name is ALORMASOR, and of course, I do this as usual in Kwame Owusu Danso's stead. This morning, there are a number of issues that we shall be discussing. We'll go to South Africa, where South African court has barred Zuma from contesting parliamentary elections. Also, we shall be looking at the SMLD deal, the GRA-SML deal, because we know that President Akufo-Addo has released the full report, the full KPMG report on the SML deal. We know that SNIT's 60% stake in some hotels in Ghana, namely the Labadi Beach Hotel, the La Palm Royal Beach Hotel, Ridge Royal, the Buzia Beach Resort, all in the central region. All these hotels, 2 in the central region, I think 2 in the Greater Accra region. These hotels, SNIT selling its 60% stake in them. To who? To the Agric Minister, Bryan Acheampong. He owns Rock City. There's been a lot of defense being mounted by Honorable Bryan Acheampong in this regard. And, of course, we know that Labour, TUC, the Trade Union Congress, they are opposed, or they are vehemently opposed to the sale of these hotels. So these are some of the topics that we shall be discussing on the show today. And hopefully, Yermambo Moses Ambeng will be joining me, as well as Michael Abe. And I've had a few disappointments this morning, but I'm still looking forward to, a great show here on Good Morning Africa. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. Now, before I even comment, I think yesterday was the Europa League final, and it was a game between Bayer Leverkusen. They are a German side. They came up against Atalanta. They are an Italian outfit. And so in the Europa League final, Leverkusen went into that game having not lost a single match the entire of this season. So they had gone 51 games unbeaten actually. They had won the Bundesliga title by beating or drawing against all the teams in the German Bundesliga, the very first side in German history, in German football history, to go an entire season unbeaten to clinch the Bundesliga trophy. But were they able to replicate that yesterday? We've seen Leverkusen rise like a phoenix from the ashes whenever they are going down. Sometimes you see them down by 2-0, and you don't know what happens, but they come back to equalize. And sometimes they even win at the very death of the game. So yesterday, they went down by 2-0 in the first half. Ademola Lookman, Nigerian international, he got the goals for Atalanta. And we were hoping, especially for the fact that we've seen that several times this season, we're hoping that Xabi Alonso and his Chargers would come up good and then equalize. But it wasn't to be. Ademola added a third in the second half of the game to ensure that Atalanta are the Europa League champions. So a very first defeat of the season for Bayer Leverkusen, having gone 51 games unbeaten this season. Yesterday wasn't to be. They lost the Europa League finals to Atalanta, and it was a certain Ademola Lookman, the Nigerian international, grabbing a hat-trick in that regard. Commiserations to Leverkusen, though. They've been a powerhouse of football this season, and nobody expected them, especially in the beginning, to even win the Bundesliga title. Nobody gave them a dog's chance to win the Bundesliga title, but they have, and yesterday it wasn't to be. They'll be hoping that they win the German Cup, though, so that at least they can say that they've had a trophy-laden season. So kudos to Atalanta for clinching the trophy. Commiserations to Bayer 04 Leverkusen, who put up a very good fight, and we've seen that the entirety of this season. Now, Yermambo Moses Ambeng is here. He's a former national organizer of the embattled Conventions People's Party. I know why you will not be too excited for me to describe the CPP as embattled, but it is trite knowledge that that is what the CPP is. There's been a press statement. I think Acheampong forwarded it to me somewhere last week with regards to a committee they are formed to to resolve the issues in the party amicably, and we are hoping for the best. You remember, good morning.
Good morning, my brother. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Yeah, well.
Very busy man.
Of course you do. If you want to put the great CPP back on track, it needs a lot of hard work and determination, and exactly so. We are committed to the cause of reviving the great CPP, make it a powerhouse in Ghanaian politics one more time. Yeah.
Right.
So, I think you said that Jeb posted some secretaries of the press release, right? Yeah, it is true. There have been some steps taken by the founding fathers and the Council of Elders. And as you know, last year we went to NEC, and the national officers were set aside, including myself. In fact, as you know, I raised a motion that all national officers should be set aside. And I was supported by my colleague national officers, and we're set aside. So for us to move forward, the founding fathers and the Council of Elders will have to step in. And now we are proud to say that they formed an independent management committee comprising of 8 individuals, which Wing Commander retired Patrick Sobojo is the chairman of the interim management committee, supported by Professor Nino Douda, Acheampong Ibrahim is in there. Then we have 2 regional chairmen, Chairman Opariado of the Greater Accra region. We have Chairman Ali Adamu of the Bono East region. Then we have Senior Comrade Bright Akwete Esquire. We have lawyer Kwame Nkrumah Butu Esquire. He's also a member of the committee. And we have Joyce Labi. So this is an 8-member committee. Their task is very simple: to reassess the whole situation, and 1, to also take us to a National Delegate Congress, an extraordinary one to elect a flag bearer by the end of July. So hopefully we all have trust in the senior Comrade Pasobojo, a retired military man who is very disciplined, because in these times you need a very disciplined hand to be able to manage the affairs of the party. So we are glad that they settled on Wing Commander retired Patrick Sobojo to manage the affairs of the CPP. Then so after Congress, when we have a flag bearer, then the flag bearer takes over. Then we go to the elections fiercely with our opponents, the umbrella and the elephant. So we're on track. We're on track.
Right. Michael Abe is a public policy enthusiast, and it's always a delight to have him on the show. He wanted to disappoint me this morning. I was having none of it, actually. I was having none of it. After Titus Bayo, Honorable Titus Bayo, the NDC's parliamentary candidate for the Lambusi constituency. He was actually supposed to be here this morning. Yes, he called me this morning to give me a very bad news.
That's Lambusi. That's where I come from.
His constituency chairman had actually passed just this morning.
Oh, I see.
And then
I should know that, man.
The constituency chairman.
Yes, I should know.
Okay. So he had to leave for Lambusi like just this morning, so he couldn't come. I'd have felt hard done by if Michael, if my God has.
I would not ask you why I'm calling him senior.
I think I know a little bit of the history, a little bit, because I told him you were coming, and now he was like, "Oh, your mama will be here."
Mama said, "We are sitting here, kind courtesy of devil."
I see.
Public speaking, and making analysis and all those things. So we're glad that people like Mike were the ones that took us through.
So Mike and his protege
salute you this morning.
Right, I'm looking forward to a terrific show where we discuss the issues dispassionately. I have so much confidence in my panelists here, and I know that I'm cocksure that we are going to have an excellent show this morning. So wherever you are, keep your channels here on Pan-African Television. We are live on Facebook. Make sure you do well to join us on YouTube, Pan-African Television. We are live. Send in your messages. Let me know exactly what your thoughts are on the various topics that we shall be discussing this morning. Like I earlier told you, we shall be going to South Africa, where the former South African president, Jacob Zuma, he has been barred from contesting parliamentary elections. He has lashed out at the judges who, partook in that case after his election ban. Also, Hopeson Adorye arrested over dynamite claims. We know that there's a raging issue, the sale of 60% shares in SNIT's hotels. Some hotels like the La Palm Royal Beach, Labadi Beach Hotel. We go to the central region, we have Ridge Royal. There's also the Buzia Beach, and I think two others. We shall be looking at the issues, and it says sale of SNIT hotels, organized labor to meet with president, and also GRASML deal, Akufo-Addo releases KPMG report. This particular topic is a banner headline of most of the newspapers that have been published this morning. So these are the topics that we are discussing this morning. As you can see, the text line has been displayed on your screen, 055 or 0559919802. So that is the number. Make sure you send in your text via WhatsApp or the normal messaging. I'd be more than glad to receive it. So without further ado, let's get into our very first topic. Zuma lashes out at judges after election ban. Former South African President Jacob Zuma has launched a scathing attack on some of the country's top judges after he was barred from running for parliament on Monday. In his first interview since the ban, Mr. Zuma told the BBC the Constitutional Court was wrong to decide he was unfit to run based on his 2021 conviction for contempt of court. I expected that from our judges, but they are definitely wrong, not correct, the 82-year-old said, adding that the constitution should be changed. Ahead of next week's general election, Mr. Zuma had been campaigning under the banner of the newly formed MK, that is the Mkhonto Wesizwe. Some of these South African names. Those of you who have ever names and you go on TV and say that your names are big. You see some South Africa. The first 5 letters, no vowel, no A-E-I-O-U. So how do you pronounce it? He joined the party after falling out with the government or the governing African National Congress, which he used to lead. The Electoral Commission argued that the Constitution bars anyone who was sentenced to more than 12 months in prison from serving as a lawmaker, a view backed by the Constitutional Court judges. Mr. Zuma was convicted in 2021 for refusing to testify at an inquiry investigating corruption during his presidency. His lawyers had insisted he was entitled to become an MP, as the sentence was reduced to 3 months after current President Cyril Ramaphosa released him from prison in what was widely seen as an attempt to placate the former president's angry supporters. The judges of the Constitutional Court have acted very funny towards me in particular, Mr. Zuma told the BBC. They are not taking into account the will of the people of this country. They use their own will. So this is the entire story as captured by the BBC. And I think when you pick today's edition of the Daily Graphic newspaper, it's also in there. I'll start with you, Mambo, on this note. How exactly do you feel about this story? Well. Is it that you feel that when you go to South Africa, the structures are working, the court is working, despite the fact that there's a former president? I don't think that we would ever have a time in our history here in Ghana where a former president would be taken to court and then corruption charges leveled against him, and then he will be tried.
It is coming.
I don't know if we'll ever get there. So I don't know exactly how you feel about this, whether you feel that, okay, these are structures working in another country where a former president, the most powerful man, most powerful man in South Africa, would have to face the full rigors of the law for corruption charges. Now he's been barred from even contesting elections there.
Okay, Charlie. A very good morning once again to your cherished viewers. In fact, this whole issue started in 2018. In fact, when he was even president, this whole issue would have to force him to resign as president. So yes, the system is working in South Africa and in other jurisdictions as well. Look at what is happening in the USA. Trump has several cases on his neck. Even just a recent one about this kind of money he was giving to people to cover up stories. So these things have been happening in other jurisdictions. Even in ours, former presidents in time to come will be subjected to this kind of scrutiny. And yes, we know that now the constitution, kind of protects them. Even after they've served as president, I think for some number of years, they are being protected. But from that time going, I believe that when there are any cases against them, which has a lot of substance, we can establish it in court and put them there. Now, the constitution of the South Africans is very clear. That if you've been sentenced more than 12 months, and he was sentenced for 15 months, you cannot hold a seat in parliament. But when your sentence ends, for 5 years, you cannot hold a seat in parliament. Meaning that after 5 years, you are eligible to hold a seat back. Okay, so he went to court initially, he lost, he went to an appeal, he won the appeal. So it was just on Monday where their constitutional court will have to overturn the decision of the appeal court that, look, no, even though your sentence was reduced, as you read, to 3 months, the initial sentence was 15. So when we go by that arrangement, you are not eligible to stand. With the South Africa kind of system, the ANC have held over 30 years. They've held so much majority in the South African parliament. Yes, the Fighters League also came out, Malema and Co, they were also able to win some seats. But now the MK party is also going to be a strong force to reckon with. So people are also seeing this that maybe this constitutional court, people went to orchestrate things for them to have this kind of ruling. But I understand, per their system, even when you go to the constitutional court and the ruling is against you, you can still go for an appeal. So he can still appeal, just like in a system where in the Supreme Court you can go for judicial review. I think he can also do same. But I think this kind of arrangements, I think all the constitutions within the continent or everywhere, when you have a criminal case or you have a criminal record, or you have been ever convicted before, custodial sentence, it makes you eligible. It makes you not eligible to stand for presidency. So for me, I don't think it's something new, but I believe that yes, democracy, the system, the rule of law is at work. So if he strongly believes that he has a case, that he was badly treated by the constitutional court, there is another avenue for him to go for redress, which is a review of the decision made. Mind you, in 2018, when this whole thing started, there were a lot of riots in South Africa. Over 300 people died because of Zuma. So he is not a small political personality in South Africa that people will say we can just let this go by. No, he has serious support in South Africa. So I believe that yes, they should use the system. The rule of law is at work. He's not happy with the ruling. He should go for an appeal. After the appeal, they will know the outcome. They will move on. So I believe that yes, it's in the right direction. I support the ruling because even in our case in Ghana, that should have been the case. Because if you have been convicted with a custodial sentence, there's no way you can serve as president. So I believe that yes, Zuma has the right to go for an appeal. You should go. Then we'll see the way forward. Then we'll move on.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Mr. Abbey.
Yeah. So I see politics versus the law in place. And Zuma understands the political authority and influence he wields. And he intends leveraging that to see how best to oust the legitimate or what the legal procedure is. I mean, we know the law is quite clear, like Iramambo mentioned. I mean, they tie theirs to even the custodial sentence, not necessarily even the offense or the nature of offense that took you into, convicted you largely. So if it's 12 years and beyond, clearly, I mean, there is no way you should be allowed to contest as president. And that was the conviction he got. And so clearly he knows that as far as the law is concerned. But I think the counsels for Zuma also made a very interesting argument. The fact that the president, I think, pardoned him, I think 3 months into. Precisely. And so they think that that pardon negates this whole, thinking that, listen, you were convicted for 12 years. But Zuma should be about, how many years old now? 82 years old now. And if it is even about, you see, there are quite a number of issues here. One having to do with the role of the ANC as a political party in the scheme of things, and the future of the party by way of its influence. Per the data, per the records, one can clearly see that the ANC, in terms of its influence, has been dwindling down. We know that, has been dwindling for some time now. And with the exit of Malema, and now this MK party, clearly it's going to be a huge blow on the ANC. And it is also because, I mean, society is evolving, democratic societies are evolving, and the more the evolution takes place, the more people begin to aspire, the more people begin to question the status quo. It used to be the case where ANC was South Africa, or ANC is South Africa, and South Africa is ANC. But today it's no more the case. So politically, clearly ANC should be worried. But there again, I mean, Zuma, 82 years old. If it's even the case that he would want to leverage his influence, so the MK party, I mean, gets enough vote or support base whatsoever in the upcoming elections, I think he can still do that without necessarily contesting by himself. I mean, have candidates all around, and you may still be able to get that effect. Use your influence, not necessarily by contesting to go to parliament. And in any case, you've been president for almost a decade, 9 good years of South Africa. I mean, what again do you think you can? Well, so when I read this, it came to me clear, okay, there's a career politician, no two ways about that, without thinking about what impact necessary. I think in any serious country, the mere fact that there has been this, let's even remain on the tangent of allegations of corruption, of, I mean, all these things that led you into trouble should move you away from even the thought of wanting to contest and even to go to parliament. But hey, I side with the reasoning of the court largely. I think he has the opportunity to appeal, right? So if he saw things that he's been treated unfairly, but again, he calls for the constitution to be changed. And I don't know whether that call was in respect of the fact that he feels he hasn't been treated fairly by the court, largely. And so what is even his thinking when he said the constitution should be changed? What aspects of the constitution should be changed? Is it about the fact that when you are sentenced to 12 years and you can't, I mean, be allowed to contest elections, that is what he's calling for it to be changed? Or really what? I think Zuma may have, you see, there are seasons, there are timing happens to politics. His era is gone. He must basically use the energy he has now, the influence he has now, to maybe reflect on his leadership era, his leadership period, his leadership days, and see how best he can positively impact on the next generation in South Africa, I think.
It's a good man.
Yeah.
He still got so much influence in the system.
Yeah.
So as Senior Mike is saying, look, he can rechannel that energy to groom a lot of people. I don't know what his problem is, honestly. He can really do that. Unless, of course, there is more to it that he knows to himself that we don't know. You know, political power is a funny thing. People are doing everything to get, so you will never know.
And also here for the first time,
Yeah.
the ANC appears to be on wobbly ground
Of course,
as far
yeah.
as this election is this upcoming.
No, it happened even in the last election.
Yes.
With Malema exiting and forming
Yes.
what's the name of the party?
Is it EF? Is it EF?
Economic Fighters League or something?
EFL, yeah.
EFL.
Yeah, so it is coming. And this MK party too, we are suspecting that they might also
No, don't know
cause
that.
tsunami.
And Zuma knows his political influence and leverage. He knows that.
Yes.
So, I mean,
Wow, it's interesting.
Right. You two can share your thoughts with us. Like earlier stated, we are streaming live on Facebook. You can join the stream also on YouTube. Make sure you join us at Pan-African Television. Text line has been displayed on your screen as well. Now let's proceed to other conversations. SNIT's sale, it's 60% shares in hotels in Ghana. La Palm, Labadi, Ridge Royal, our own Ridge Royal. We've been playing the advert here actually. Ridge Royal, Buzia, and 2 others. But they've even come out to say that they are just 4, as if 4 is justified.
Just a 4. Hey,
as if 4 is justified. But I've heard NPP communicators, speak on this particular issue. Even this morning, I heard one on another station trying to justify it. So according to her, when the NDC was in power, the Ahoys bought stakes in some hotels. Some SNIT own hotels. I don't know the veracity or otherwise of that claim. Yes, she mentioned the names of the hotels. You've heard this before.
And even there were properties which didn't belong to state, even to the states, which were diversified, which a lot of NDC gurus then bought, which we were seriously and vehemently against
opposed
in the 1980s when we did the structural adjustment programs.
So, but the Trade Union Congress, they held a press conference. I think it was somewhere last week, Friday, on this particular issue. They are opposed to it, and we are learning this morning that they are going to meet the president with regards to this raging conversation. I don't know what the meeting is about, but ostensibly it will be in relation to the fact that they are opposed to the sale of SNIT 60% shares. Now, the question on the minds of many people is that it's not as though these hotels are making losses. Labadi Beach is not recording losses. La Palm isn't recording losses. Buzia is not recording losses. Ridge Royal isn't recording losses. So what may be the justification? And I've heard NPP communicators try to justify that as well.
For them,
they just want to diversify their investments into something else that would be more profitable. So not that the hotel business or the real estate is not profitable, but they want more profitable ones, and so that's why they are taking this decision. Let me engage you on your general thoughts on this issue.
Yeah, well, it's a very disappointing development. In fact, some of us, our orientation, when we see these things, it gets us very upset, because I would not understand why SNIT will want to do the 60%. That's the majority side of the shares, 60. And automatically makes that person the majority shareholder of these hotels. Now, as you rightly said, what is its justification? But if you want to flow shares, there should be a serious or grounded justification why you want to do that. Some other investment guys will tell you that, okay, people flow shares because they want to diversify their businesses. Is that the case? Or is it the case that these hotels were not making profit? They should tell us. Now, some of these hotels are very big wigs. They are Labadi Beach Hotel. One of the hotels that even web superstars globally, when they come together, that is the hotel they want to go. So nobody can tell me that Labadi Beach Hotel is not making profit. I won't get that kind of argument. And they have what it takes. Per their financial flows, they can contract any loan globally. And the interest rate of loans globally, some countries 3%, 4%, 5%. Not as compared to ours, where we are hovering around 40 plus. You see? So only their portfolio, they have what it takes to contract loans outside. So if they wanted more money, they know they have it to get money to expand the business. But they opted for this route. So I don't understand it. Because that hotel, and even La Palm, the same. Elmina Beach Resort, the same. So bless, no, nobody will understand this. They have to come clean. And also, my small company and partnership law I did undergrads at me. When you are trying to flow shares, the existing shareholders, they have the first right. They have the first right. So if I'm holding maybe 5%, and you are going to sell 60%, right? Because I'm already holding 5% of the shares, I will be the first point of call, and our other colleagues who are also holding the same shares, you have to come to us first before you go out. But per sources, they failed to even do that. So the existing shareholders who were also holding the 40%, they were not even contacted to also bring their bits. But in share arrangement, this is how it goes. Those who are already existing shareholders, they have the first right before you go out. They went out, according to them, they had a lot of people bidding. They scaled it down to 6 people. They came down to Bryan Acheampong's Rock City. Now, somebody will ask, if Bryan was not a politically exposed person or even a minister of state, would his company have gotten that far? And this question is very justifiable. Because yes, we know other companies also put in their bid, but they didn't get anywhere, yes. So if he was not a politically exposed person, would he have gotten that far? And now, the assessment the SNIT themselves made, they value the hotels at a point. I think the initial report was that it was 8.6 million. Bright came with an offer less than that, about 5.9 million initially. So they have to go to round 2. They scale it down to 7.7. Bryan Acheampong's company still couldn't meet that threshold of 7.7. So it continued dropping. And that is what has raised a lot of eyebrow with the labor unions. That if you have done your assessment and we are valuing these properties at this rate, what happened that you keep on dropping the value of the price? Why do you keep on dropping? Is it because of the personality involved? Now they came down to, we understand it really is 7 million or something. You see, constitutionally, and by the rules of the game, he is an honorable member of parliament. And Okujato has raised this point solidly that look, if you're a member of parliament, or a minister, a cabinet minister, and you want to even engage in some of these things, you have to get express permission from the speaker, because these entities are entities that is going to earn you profit. And I've heard the same MPP communicators saying that since he's not managing it himself, then that clause does not hold him in any way. But I don't get the argument. Why? Because if he's not even part of management, when it comes to profit, are they telling me that he's not entitled to his profit as the owner of Rock City? He's entitled. So the clause says profit. So as far as we're going to make profit from private businesses, I think the speaker should give you express authority to do so. But you see, in all this, I don't even understand, because SNIT, the money they are is not their money. Trade unions, labor unions, it's your money. So whenever they are trying to get an investment portfolio, they should be extremely careful, because they should be looking at portfolios that is going to earn them profits. And also, even if you want to diversify, per the economic hardship you have in this country now, that value of money is nothing now. I'm telling you, you rather go and sink it in an investment that will not yield anything. It is even better to keep these hotels and try to inject income. If that is what is missing, try to inject income into these hotels and polish them up. And they'll do so well. So for me, there is no argument to this. SNIT, they should halt the sale. They should halt it with immediate effect. Somebody asks, there's a SNIT hotel in Wa. Why is he not interested in it? Why? If he was interested in that, I know that, oh, then maybe the guy just have love for hotels. But he targeted the lucrative ones. And there are other SNIT facilities in rural Ghana. Why is he not targeting those ones? You understand? So from us, it is very clear. It is the same grabbing issue. And I told you, this thing has a historical antecedent. That in 1985-86, after 83, when we went for the structural adjustment programs, the IMF told us that we should diversify, we should sell all the state-owned enterprises. And most of these enterprises were catering guest houses. Some of them were hotels. And at that time, some officials of the PNDC and now the NDC were fortunate to have some of this as their personal properties. You see where the history is coming from. So it started from that time where people raised red flag. Now, if you are saying that as at that time, those entities were not making profit, there were several ways to inject capital into them. Not for outright sale. You see, I hold a position that, yes, even if you like money and you want investment, government should always hold the majority share. We can diversify and give it to some of our local businesses. But when you add their shares up, it should never be what the state government is holding. But unfortunately, our own people, some who now claim they are even scientific, they are social democrats, they fell for this trap. When the IMF came out, we should diversify all these portfolios and give it to private people. And they did that. So there's history. So when people read and see that, these things were done in the past, which doesn't even give them any justification to also do it now. Now, what are they doing? That is what they are doing. They are trying to lay the record straight that, look, it happened during your time. So this is no news. You understand? So blessed. We have a country where equalization has become the order of the day. And we believe that, look, when we vote you to power for you to solve our problems, and you come and you are trying to do equalization, it means you failed. And that is why in 2020, this election, blessed, we are not going to play. Our strategy is very simple. That way, if you want the forward march of this country, is the total rejection of the NDC and the MPP. There's no qualms about that. For how many years now? Since 92. They've let us down badly. So bless, for me, I believe it is good organized labor wants to meet the president. They should make a strong case why this transaction cannot go through. Because it doesn't inure to the benefit of the state or even SNIT. So I believe His Excellency should do the honorable thing. And for me, the only honorable thing is to instruct SNIT to halt the process. I'm happy Okudjato has petition stretch, and they're also doing the work, yes. But this one, Mr. President, look, don't let people believe what is written in the Japadie document. Don't. Because it is essentially so portrayed that they have to take control of all strategic areas of the economy. And rightly so. In the banking sector, they try to do their experiences and they succeeded. In the oil and gas, they've done it. And now, hospitality. So they are trying to, clinch onto all the strategic sectors of the economy. And when such things happen, we the youth, the masses, what do you want them to think? They feel that they are living in a very hopeless state. They feel that there's no future for them in Ghana. That is why every day, if I'm passing at the Jolo traffic light, I see my colleagues, teeming youth, trying to go to Canada. Because they feel that, Mike, there's no hope in Ghana. It's all lost. And that's a very dangerous thing. Where your youth feels that there's no future for them in your country. And they have nothing to lose. Those kind of people, if they want to distract, they distract because they have nothing to lose. So we should be very careful in this country. It hurts some of us that will say, oh, more politicians, with the political class, we are all the same. No matter what we say, they say we are all the same. Can't courtesy what the NPP and the NDC have done to them. They are branded as all the same. No matter what we tell them, they tell you are all the same. It's about time we rewrite this narrative. Let's change the status quo. It's about service. Let Ghanaians feel that we are working for them. Now, you go on the street and people feel politicians work for their own pockets. Go on the street and ask them about this hotel deal. They'll tell you, you see? So, bless, I will appeal to His Excellency once again. Just by phone call, he can stop this transaction. And I think he should do that honorable thing. It will save Mother Ghana, and it will even save SNIT itself.
And also you remember,
one
of the defenses mounted by persons who are in support of this sale is that if a foreign entity had come to say that, look, I want to buy these shares, would it have generated the same, rancor and the way people are vehemently opposed to it? Would it have been the same if it was a foreign entity? This is someone who is Ghanaian. And what's wrong with a Ghanaian owning stakes or shares in something that belongs to the country?
Okay. Those who make those arguments, our principle is very simple. That no matter whether the person is an Asian, an European, or whatever the person is, we are saying that what is the justification of selling this asset? For all you know, if it was a foreigner, maybe the issue wouldn't have popped up. Because it's a politically exposed person, that is why we are hearing these things. If it was a foreign company, maybe wouldn't have. But some of us, and from our tradition, our position on these issues has always been one. That when it comes to floating of shares and all those things, government should hold the majority. So if you sell 60%, and I understand other people are holding 40%, it means you have nothing. You've lost all your stake. And we don't understand those kind of arrangements. You see? And more of these deals have gone through, as you rightly said, because they are foreign companies. And because the person was not politically exposed, there was nothing wrong with it. And everybody across board, NDCAB, thought that was okay. But we don't think it's okay. There is a serious fundamental issue with this. When you have a country, you own nothing, and everything in the country or the economy is controlled by foreigners or the private sector, you are doomed. And that is what I want our people to understand. That as a developing country, the government should always have a stake. A time will come, we will get there. When the Chinese and the Asian targets started, this is what we're doing. Ensuring that at least the state or the government has some control. You see, when you have this control, that is when you will be able to determine how the economy will be run. But if you have no control, and it's in the hands of foreigners or foreign firms and the private sector, then you have no control. That is why we are finding it difficult to even control our interest rates. We are finding it difficult to control the depreciation of our city. Because we control nothing and we produce nothing. You see, so for us, it's the fundamental. What is the justification of selling this? Because as we've all seen, these are hotels that are already making profits. They are well situated and they can use their financial statements to contract loans globally. So what is the justification? Somebody should tell me. There is not. So whether it's a foreigner or a local person, we are against it.
Before I come to Mr. Abe, let me read SNIT's justification, SNIT's reaction and explanation. It says, in a statement issued on Sunday evening, May 19, the management of SNIT offered an explanation for the partnership and said the process started in 2018 and was in its final stages and therefore not yet concluded. According to the management, since Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa has mentioned that the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice has been petitioned to conduct a full-scale investigation into the sale of SNIT hotels, it will not comment further given the pending investigation by Shraj. It said the management of SNIT will cooperate fully with Shraj throughout its investigation process. It, however, clarified that it was rather 4 of the hotels and not 6, as alleged by Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, the Alabadi Beach, La Palm Beach Resort, Ridge Royal, and Elmina Beach Resorts. Okay, so even out of the 6, it is the top 4. Yes. It is the top. Yes, the top 4 out of the 6. That
I'm waiting for the justification.
Yes, I'm also trying to. Yes. It added that bids for Buzia Beach Resort and the Trash Lodge were considered to be unsuccessful, so they are no longer part of the hotels covered in this process. The management of SNIT said, based on the criteria set out in the request for proposal, Rock City Hotel submitted the best and strongest technical and financial proposal amongst those received. But when you listen to okay, so
I want to listen to the
the management of SNIT wishes to comment as follows. 1. The trust is seeking to partner a strategic investor to raise capital to invest in the hotels and also assist in their management. 2. The primary objective of finding a strategic investor is to increase efficiency, profitability, shareholder value, and the long-term sustainability of the SNIT pension scheme. 3. Accordingly, SNIT went through international competitive tendering processes as prescribed by the Public Procurement Act 2003, as amended for the selection of a strategic investor. 4. The trust commenced the process with the engagement of a transaction advisor through the ICT method of procurement. And I don't know if you've heard how much the advisor was paid. So much $594,000.
We are sick. We are just sick as a country. Come on, what is this?
The trust commenced the process with the engagement of a transaction advisor through the ICT method of procurement with publication of advertisements in the Daily Graphic on 14th November 2018 and in the Ghanaian Times on 15th November 2018. The advertisement was also published in an international magazine, The Economist, in its January 5 to 11, 2019 edition. As of January 16, 2019 deadline, 15 firms had expressed interest in submitting bids. Of these, 6 were shortlisted and issued with request for proposal documents. Approval was sought from the Central Tender Review Committee for the selection of a transaction advisor on 12 December 2019, and that was granted on 24th December 2019. It goes on, it's a pretty long...
So the crux of the matter is that they said they needed to raise capital
and make more profits.
And I'm telling you that by the financial books of these hotels, they have what it takes to be able to contract any loan globally. I'm telling you. So where does this come in again?
If you go to Samuel, Honorable Samuel Okudzeto's Facebook, I think he brought out some contradicting issues in relation to this matter with regards to the dates, the so-called dates where they said they published the advertisement in an international magazine, and when Rock City started operations, they, according to,
that should be around 2019.
2019. Yes. So for a company that started operations in just 2019, I mean, the question is, so from just 2019, they've done so well for themselves that of all the people who you understand?
It's fishy. It's fishy.
Because
if you started operating in 2019, they can argue that yes, they were in existence prior to 2019. But what has been your activity?
Yeah.
You see, so when we take your financial books, what has been your activity prior to 2019? It is zero. It is rather from 2019 that we can see transactions and things that they've done. Yes. So yes, it's a very young firm. to be able to get such a lucrative deal. No. Because when you are even trying to do this, you look for the best people who are very experienced.
Who have been in the game for a
very long time, who can be strategic partners. Now they talk about efficiency. That is also to ensure that the management becomes efficient and all those things. They are looking for a strategic partner. I ask myself, so if still holds these shares, we cannot have efficiency in management or what? Even if you want to give the management aspect to a strategic partner, that should be about 5%. You can give 5%, then you can say that okay, they should manage the management aspect of it. If you feel that your own local people you have here are not good enough, you can just the management bit of it. And when it comes to the financial side, I've told you that these hotels were doing so well that they can contract loans on their own, not even within Ghana, outside the country, which are cheaper. So for me, this is no justification. This was a shoddy deal to make sure that this hotel gets in the hand of a politically exposed person who's well connected. As simple as that.
Right. Let me read a few messages, then I come to Mr. Michael Abbey. Alaji Savlugu says, good morning, my greetings to you. I'm watching you live from Savlugu. Thank you so much, Alaji. Maria Adam says, Mr. President is behind this. We should not forget Ken Ofuriatta is still sitting in the Jubilee House setting the agenda. The only way is to rescue this country from the hands of these mafias. She goes on to say that bless a foreign entity will not sit in SNIT and take only party people as workers, but Ghanaians. A country needs to have its own state properties and must not be sold off. Thank you very much, Maria Madam, for your message. Promise Lambert Kumake says SNIT contributors are not angry enough in this country called Ghana. Right, thank you. Apostle Seidu John Paul says, I'm watching live from Tamale, Ghana. It's time to chase MPP serpentary governance out. We have suffered so much as Ghanaians. In fact, we are humans. We go through pains. We deserve better as well. So these are some of the messages that you've sent. I'll get on to WhatsApp later to read some of the messages you sent through WhatsApp. On that note, let me come to Mr. Michael Abbey.
I don't know what you want me to. And it's it's because so what are we discussing really? And what are we struggling to contextualize? Plain thievery, plain stealing. I mean, the technicalities, the obfuscations amounts to just one thing. I was eager, the justification from SNIT. Wanting to raise capital. That is not justification. There must be a need for the capital. So the need, when stated, becomes a justification. So this
SNIT needs money to do this, and then the hotels are not.
Why do you need them? That becomes the justification. But when you throw it out there, capital, profitability, and all these things, and then we have to come and sit here to discuss these things, when all we see and can see is a connivance of a cartel. That's right. To simply steal the future of this country. And I'm sure this morning, most of the media platforms are discussing this and looking at it from various angles. Yes. Because this is what it is.
Yeah. It's straightforward.
When you look at the records, I mean, look at what the Honorable Sam Okujetu pointed out. Yeah. As to when SNIT made advertisement, 2009 thereabout.
Yeah.
Or 2019, right?
2019. Yeah. No, so they started the process in 2018. The advertisement, one appeared in the Daily Graphic. I think they mentioned the date in 2018. Another in an international magazine in 2019.
Okay.
Yeah.
You see. Yeah. So you look at SNIT. Look at the mechanics of it. SNIT leadership has representatives of labor on the SNIT board, actually.
Yeah.
But they are not in the majority.
Yeah.
You have other appointees by the President of the Republic, who indeed would always serve the interest of the appointor.
Sure.
And by extension, serving the interest of the executive. And so whatever decision the board makes, the board easily forgets that we are here thinking about not the unions, as you remember mentioned, but workers.
Yeah.
I mean, SNIT's establishment is to present us a beautiful story tomorrow that, given the contributions from workers, we've been able to invest in this, that here and there. We've been able to make this amount of profit, and for that matter, it means we can even pay more in terms of pensions and what have you to workers who have retired and are supposed to enjoy their pensions. This is the beautiful story we all expect SNIT to be telling us. But pensioners are worse off as we speak. Workers can't even easily, for instance, you work for a while, you've been contributing, and then all of a sudden you are out of job. The process of even applying for some benefits while within the period of unemployment, because the law provides for that, is so cumbersome that you are left to just stay hopeless. So there are real social issues, social needs, workers' interests that SNIT should be thinking about, and whatever investments SNIT finds itself in must be connected to that. But you see, you talk about Rock City Hotel. As we speak, Rock City, I'm told, has a little over, is it 200 or 400 rooms or so? I think 600 rooms, as we speak. The intention of the hotel, and they are in expansion mode actually, to have over 2,000 rooms. And the question is, 2,000 rooms, where is the demand? In Eastern region, what are the usual activities that build traffic to such extent that these activities are able to quickly fill up your needs as a hotel in terms of your occupancy rate? Once a year.
Yes.
So you are entrusting SNIT shares into the hands of a company whose even company decisions, whose even operations are questionable in terms of even their thinking. Because you want to have over 2,000 rooms. For what? Once a while, conferences, workshops. So in terms of competence and foresight, on that mark alone, Rock City shouldn't be the company to be entrusted with 60% out of the 90% of the shares owned by SNIT in these companies. You see, when we begin to even compare, and you mentioned that one NPP, their usual communicators trying to draw some comparison that it happened on the NDC sometime past or so, and then there's nothing wrong, it happening now. I think it is very important we delineate the issues and put them in proper context, and not to whatsoever play any justification games. Now, you remember rightly mentioned that after the economic structural adjustment, one of the fallouts was largely to look at diversification. Now, clearly, there would be the need for diversification, a justification for saying. And nobody should tell us that Ghana went through that stage, the structural adjustments period, because we were in dire difficulty. I mean, when you look at the balance sheet of these state enterprises, these companies, not doing well.
Yeah. True.
Clearly so.
Yeah.
Now, diversification may just be, in my view, one of the options in bringing back these enterprises or companies into a healthy state. There may be reasons for choosing diversification. But when you compare that to what is happening now, completely two different stories, scenarios. What is the current state of these hotels? Hotels that I'm told realize almost 90% occupancy rate. All the time. 90% occupancy rate. What that means is very simple. That the hotel is making money. The hotels are liquid. And so they have money they can bank on for more capital.
Of course.
If it's the case that they would want to even do expansion. And so clearly it doesn't make sense. Clearly, when you throw it into the political field, we know that, oh, we will just pick some story that happened or whatever may have been alleged to have happened some years back, or it happened under these guys, and then just compare it to what is happening now, and then we end the conversation. But as we sit here, pensioners are struggling. As we sit here, a teacher will go through teaching for what number of years? A lecturer for what number of years? Public workers for what number of years? May have made contributions to SNIT, and the expectation is that at least I have a minimum standard of healthy living at my retirement. But that is not happening. We've recently even witnessed haircuts on pensioners' fund because of recklessness of this government. And I like how Mambo put it. It is clearly the Ejapadia document at play. And some of us saw this way back. So we get even tired and frustrated when invited to have conversations of this nature. I think the issue is, what's the solution? It's true, workers haven't shown anger enough. And I am not particularly also happy with the fact that there is going to be a call on the president, or even, I'm sure the call may have been made already, for the president to step in. What we are saying indirectly is this: the president can, at his own whims, do anything, however illogical, however nonsensical, however unfortunate. So now we are going to call on him to intervene in something that is clearly, I mean, I don't know how to describe the current happenings. So now we are calling on the father who superintends over all these things since 2017 to now come and say, okay, my children have listened to your plea, and so we are not going to do that again. So indirectly arrogating onto himself a certain power he doesn't even deserve. Labor should by now be on the street. Why are you going to beg the president for? For what? To step in. What does that mean? Why indirectly are you giving him powers to feel, okay, yes, what we are doing, of course, is nonsense. It doesn't make sense. We are stealing. Well, yes, I'm still being invited. As though the guy is the #1 culprit. And we must understand that. Labor by now should hit the streets. Bambo talked about the fact that it's the case. Every other sector, you can see their footprint. And not mere footprint, properly so entrenched. And when we begin to even question or audit the lifestyle of these public officers under this Akufo-Addo Bawumia government, you would ask yourself, but for the NPP coming to power in 2017 and being in power till now, will all these things have happened? You look at the banking sector, capture. Hospitality, capture. Insurance, capture. To the extent that government insurance transactions go to a particular insurance enterprise.
Meanwhile, we have a
connected to government.
Meanwhile, we have state insurance company, SIC. The LSU don't.
Capture everywhere. Media, capture. You're not seeing it, but it's happening.
Yeah.
Intended even capturing academia to arrest how we even think with that obnoxious bill they had wanted to pass. And you see, when Akufo-Addo, the president, His Excellency, stands anywhere and says he's not going to hand over power to anybody, he knows what he means. When the same Bryan stands anywhere and says, listen, we shall not hand over power, they know what they mean. But you see, as a student of political science, there is one thing I've come to know. The power of the people has always been strong. The power of the ordinary Ghanaian always been strong. And sometimes we ask ourselves, why is it the case that it appears Ghanaians are not angry enough? But again, I'm sure conflict experts will tell you, when you particularly look at this theory called frustration aggression theory, it must get to the neck where you are tired, you're fed up, and just with a little spark, there is explosion. Others choose to exercise that explosion in a more civil way. So most are saying, listen, let's wait. We have a couple of months more. It's just 6-7 months more to the general elections. And I keep saying that I am sure in the minds and hearts of every Ghanaian, this Akufo-Addo Bawumia government has indeed, over the last 7-8 years now, shown to every Ghanaian, the kind of president and government we should not have as Ghanaians. And the indicators are there. And so when you see someone telling you, oh, I haven't been corrupt before. there are, I mean, in Parliament, even in the last government, the shared properties, my name isn't part of any of, I mean, I have not been mentioned anywhere. I haven't been attached to any scandal. You must be on the watch out. And the same script Bawumia is playing. Same script. And you think, the way the president, Bryan and the likes are so confident of not handing over, Bawumia, in the unlikely event, as the next president of this country, will be allowed to do things as his own wishes as president? No! In any case, he will be coming to operate within an economy that has been hijacked by these guys. And so, Bawumia himself knows that there is little to nothing he can do in the unlikely event he becomes president. And that is why voting for him will be a waste of everybody's time. And it's high time Ghanaians speak as Ghanaians and look at the interests of this country. Today, one case of stealing. Tomorrow, one case of stealing. Tomorrow, planning to do this. The next day, trying to do this. It started in 2017. Now, in a day, you have multiple acts of stealing happening like a money heist kind of an arrangement. Is this Ghana? Is this where deliberately so all the institutions of state that are supposed to be the bulwark have all been rendered impotent? We see the scores every day. Look at corruption perception index. We see all the scores. Recently, there's so much touted free SHS. We saw the score in terms of our SHS, the quality of our SHS. Terrible ranking. And what surprises me is how, when all these indicators were there, right from 2017 until 2020, and we still allowed these guys to pass through. Today, as I sit here, I can't, with any confidence, tell you the future of the young man on the streets of Jawulu. I can't, with any confidence, tell you that even the young woman being educated, the kinds of things she's being indoctrinated with. But you see, anything that happens can all the time be situated within a context. This political scientist once said, listen, usually capitalist regimes and actors, particularly in societies where, in terms of their developmental stages, they are at the primary level, now hoping to get the fundamentals right. What they do is they usually throw out one or two labeled social interventions just to confuse the thinking, confuse the conversation, confuse the mindset of the ordinary voters, ordinary people in society, so they are voted for. And that is what I mean, where is today even the Zongo ministry? Listen, those things were thrown into the system, were planned actually, thrown into the system, get the confidence of the people, and now just execute the hidden agenda. And that is what is happening. I think Bawumia will be a worse president in the unlikely event he is voted for as president of this country. with what is happening today. And I call on every Ghanaian. We are tired. I think the calls on us to always come on TV, radio, to discuss happenings in this country, we are frustrated. And anytime you come, it's not about discussing some fine solutions happening concerning our welfare, but it's usually about one scandal or the other, some more governance issues happening, some corrupt practices happening, or discussing the troubles of this government. And this has been the trend. We have the power to stop this. We have the power to stop this. And the power lies in us. We have a few days to end this voter registration exercise. For those of you who are eligible and haven't gone to register yet, don't say you are not concerned. Don't say political parties are the same. No. You must voice out who to lead this country. It's very important. So get up, go and register. And I think, Abi thinks that when you compare Baumia to JDM, it's excellent JDM. Those are the choices we have to make. No two ways about that. That is the reality. No two ways about that. With even little. And all the insults and propaganda, you remember, JM being incompetent and all that. We saw what he did. Just in 4 years. The choice is clear. There is even no need for any comparison. And I think it is high time we join the cause and rally around and ensure that we empower JDM on 7 December to come help reset this country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Michael.
See the last one, laughing capital.
Well, right. You are still watching the morning show. This is the review segment of Good Morning Africa with yours sincerely, Kwame ALORMASOR, for the umpteenth time. I'm tired of even saying it. I'm sitting in for Kwame Danso. Right, but there are a few messages that we've received, and I'll take time to read a few of them. Tambiri Joseph says, "Good morning, Pan-African Television. I'm Joseph, watching you live in WA. Sometimes I feel sad listening to issues affecting the country. Issues like this will be discussed and the president and his people will do nothing to solve the problem. Where are we actually heading to as a country? 7th December, we best make a change. May God Almighty save Ghana from the hands of the incompetent party. Good morning." Benedict Boateng said, he didn't say anything else. Emma Kudeko or Kweduka says, "We'll surely vote them out in Jesus' name." The Jesus account. Right. Good morning, Mr. ALORMASOR. Please tell my brother they should do everything possible to bring back the CPP because they are linked to Pan-Africanism. And at this time, they are all Ghana needs to bring to play policies and ideologies of Osajefo, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Right. Thank you so much. Bless. SNIT should know that our funds are not for government or politicians. How much has Osafo Mafu's son, who is now the CEO, contributed to the fund? This is a JAPA being implemented. This is state capture. Ghanaians, shine your eyes and rise up. Stephen from Kwabenya. Thank you, Stephen, for your message. Dr. Downblow from Brismu Apewusika. I don't know if I've pronounced the name right. The corruption plaguing the Kufuor government persists unabated, as evidenced by the ongoing debacle involving the Agric Minister's Rock City Hotel and SNIT, a situation that also explains the minister's resolute stance that the NPP will refuse to relinquish power. Corruption has infiltrated every aspect of this government, from the SML scholarship, from the SML scholarship secretariat to TOR and NIB, among other aspects of this government. While the which the incoming NDC government has vowed to swiftly purge to restore order. My regards to Honorable Felix Kwachiofusu, the next MP for Abra Asebu, Kwamankese constituency. Okay, thank you so much for your message. A very good morning to you, Pan African TV, and your wonderful panelists. I'm watching live from NKC in the Upper West region. There's unprecedented hardship everywhere in Ghana now, and these governments, and this government, you said these, and this government is always heaping praise on themselves for good governance. You didn't tell me your name and where you sent your message from. So these are some of the messages that you've sent. You're still watching the show live here on Pan African Television. Also in 46 South African countries, we are being watched live. Now, have you seen the current exchange rate, the interbanks?
Is it not 14?
No, it's 15. So the dollar is now 15.15.
15.
Yes, 15 cedis, 15 pesos.
Hey, then we'll hit 20 by the
euro is 16.30.
Wow.
16 cedis, 30 pesos. And the pound is 19 cedis.
Yeah, what the hell is happening?
Yes, so
that we have CFA, Frank.
And no, but I know why you're asking this question, because the flower border, that is the main medium of exchange. But a lot has been going on with regards to our currency over the past few days, over the past few weeks, I should say, and the galloping rate at which the dollar has been flying. I mean, what exactly? I asked this question. I put this question to our viewers yesterday. What exactly do we have to do in the short term? I know there are long-term policies.
It can't be a short term.
Short term.
I'm sorry. It can't
be a short term.
There are artificial things which will not last for long, and that is what we've been doing all these years. And we'll get back to square zero. So shortcuts.
So right now we are waiting for the next tranche of IMF money.
Cosmetic kind of solutions.
We are waiting for the next tranche of IMF money, and then when it comes and that is exhausted,
get some small stability.
It's not like it will even come down drastically. Just a few pesos. And then
we are happy. Then the next 5-6 months, we are hit hard again. So there's no shortcut, my brother. I'm sorry. We've been saying this. If they were listening when they even came to power in 2017, by now the long-term process or long-term solutions would have been seeing the gains. But they refused. They are still doing cosmetics, just like the NDC also did with the dollar. Look, it's a fundamental issue. You produce nothing, and you want your currency to be strong. You don't add value to your product. You want your currency to be strong. It can never be. You don't control the strategic sectors of your economy, like the mining sector. It's all foreigners. Your oil and gas sector, you don't control. All this money is when they come into the system, they take it back to their countries. So what do you want to see? You get nothing. I'm even surprised. I'm targeting that. Look, the way it is going. If we are not careful, I'm not a prophet of doom, but if we don't take it, we might hit a 20. We might hit a 20. And you see, the thing is that these short-term solutions, $300 million will come, $400 million will come. 2-3 months, there's some considerable stability. It might even come down small. Then after that, it goes back again. The IMF policies, I want people to understand today. There is no way IMF wants you to be strong. People don't get it. They don't want you. They want you to be in this condition. You always come to them crawling. So why would they give you policies that will elevate you from this kind of quagmire? They want. You should get it. They want. You always want to see us this way. We'll come to them, they draw up policies for you and programs for you, which they know in the ultimate will make you worse off. And we have been falling for this, and we've gone to them how many times? Is it 16 or 17 times?
Programs like what?
Is that?
Programs like what?
Oh, there are several programs. This kind of diversity programs they've been pushing us to do. Diversify. Government has no business doing business. That's what they keep on telling us. Government has no business. Why should government partake in business? I was just reading. These hotels, initially government had strategic kind of interest in hotels because we knew that hotels are very lucrative businesses. Ambassador Hotel, Meridian Hotel, City Hotel. Why do you think the state invested in those hotels? You see? So if they even want to diversify, why is now we own nothing? Some of them we even have no shares again. You can diversify. I don't have a problem. But when you ensure that majority of the shares are in the hands of a private individual or a foreign firm, that is where we have a problem. Because we believe that come what may, these are strategic investments. Hotels have what it takes to be able to make money for the state on a monthly basis, on a daily basis. So this kind of investment, you don't give all out. Yes, you need the management aspect of it to be efficient. You want your books to look good. Yes, you can give some of the shares out, but not all of them. And we'll be hitting this thing. But unfortunately, those who have run this country from 1992, they just don't get it. They don't get it. So we'll continue seeing these things. You've given all your hotels, all your mining concessions to foreigners. They give you tax royalties. We came out in 2012, 2016, the CBP, that what we are doing, this tax royalty system is not helping us. We should do what we call production sharing formula. Other countries have done it, where when you produce, the state takes 40%, you also take your 60 or 30, 70, depending on how the negotiations go. But in our system, it's a tax royalty system. They finish, we take our taxes, they give us some royalties. At the end of the day, it is peanuts. Peanuts! And we are happy. At the end, we say, Anglo Gold, Newmont has paid over $800 million tax, and we are happy. That is peanuts. If we did the production sharing formula, we would have been making billions from our good. But where is it? It needs tough political decision. But whether or not the NDC, the NPP had that thick skin to sit on the table and make these tough decisions, that I don't believe. They can't, because they know what is at stake. You know, this kind of multinational companies, they bully. And they will use their countries to bully you and make sure you submit. But Kwame Nkrumah didn't teach us to be cowards. So, in fact, we are very disturbed if we don't get a very strong political leader. Hey, my brother, I think we are moving nowhere. Mike, it is true. If you don't, because we are not making tough decisions. Look, no government will come or even have the balls that, look, he's going to sit down with this mining committee to do real negotiations of the contract. They are afraid. You know why? Because in this election year, they are going to give them money for their campaigns. So who dare you? Who born you? To go and sit down after you have won power that you want to renegotiate what? Who are you? Because they've given you money for your campaign. They've tied your hands. You see? And that is what is making our political system so muddy. Now, it's about money. That is one of the reasons why we are not able to compete with the Commercial People's Party. Because it's about money. You go and you talk to tertiary students and they are demanding from you. I say, hey guys, it's about Ghana for say, Master, I Ghana BDCC. They will tell you in the face. Because when TEN goes there, TESCOM goes there, they pay. TESCOM goes there, I can't pay who? They will ridicule me. After they will start insulting me. You understand? So this is reality. This is reality. So for us to come out of this, my brother, unfortunately, there's no short formula for us to escape these kind of things we are seeing with our city. We need to make tough decisions. And if these tough decisions, we start even now, in the next 5 years, we'll be singing a different song. But will our political leaders be able to do that? Would they? As I've been saying here, they talk about industrialization. NPP came to power on the back that they want to do one district, one factory. We told them, brilliant idea. This is a socialist idea and Nkrumah's idea. So build this in that there are strategic places we can build these industries. And over the years, in the 60s and 50s, we're able to identify these areas. So go back and make sure these factories come back to life. You know, when we're doing different things, trying to give packages to some private individuals to start something, they only have been challenging them. The only product I see on the market is a coffee juice. I've been challenging them. Where are the products of the factories that you say you have created? I've been challenging them. I only see a coffee juice. And the coffee juice, what is their market share? Are they even exporting? We don't know. They are exporting. What is the quantum? What is it bringing in? Because if you start with this kind of investments, this is what will make your currency strong. If they were exporting and there were other ones that were also exporting, by now we will see that, Charlie, our CD, in the 60s, the early 50s and 60s, our currency was more powerful than the dollar, even the pound. We're neck to neck. So we've done it before. We can do it again. The solution, people will say those days, CBP, your policies are in the past. It can't be. Industrialization can never be in the past. Import substitution. You are importing almost everything. Make sure you stop that. Put a program and make sure that within the next 5 to 8 years, you can cut down drastically, maybe to 20%, 30% of the things that you consume here locally. Also, your rocket science, which our brothers and sisters in the NDC and the NPP for 30 years now or even more, since 1992, they cannot put these policies together for us. Meanwhile, their blueprints from the 7-year development plan, they can go and do reference You understand? So for me, I believe that yes, we are where we are because we failed to plan. It's all about planning. If you fail to plan, you will fail. And we are failing, and we are not learning. We will continue failing. So we all realize that, look, we cannot joke with currency depreciation. Let's all come together. Let's have a plan. And what is the plan? The plan is to industrialize. From the 60s, we have never tried serious industrialization in this country. It has never shifted. There's still, when you look at our graphs when it comes to industrialization, it's always downwards or negative. You see, so as a developing country or a country that wants to have issue deeply rooted in the global finance, you have to industrialize. And the NPP, what they tried to do was just a charade. It was not a serious industrialization drive. It wasn't. It's a charade. I'll be asking you, they should come with the product, a coffee juice. That one I give it to them. They have been buying it. And when I buy, I feel proud, you know, when I see it, even though comparatively it's somehow expensive than the foreign one. I feel proud. I feel proud. Because when I take it, I feel I'm tasting the correct pineapple in there. You see? So we want to see more of these things. Down on a very large scale. This is how your currency becomes strong. But not these cosmetic things we've been doing since 92. It won't work.
Right, thank you very much, Mambo. Let me come to Mr. Mike. The Ghana city. Always right now the people who are happy, you know, but you know there are actually a section of Ghanaians who are happy whenever the dollar rises.
Of course, they are holding them.
No, those who and those who also get inward, you know, remittance from their families abroad.
Okay.
But for me, I don't think it's still anything to be happy about, because when the dollar rises, then it means that goods
and services
also exactly you still spend more of that money you have changed to buy little. So I mean, what's the point, Mr. Abe?
So I mean, I agree with the points raised by the reporter, particularly on the part of the lack of industrialization on our part. I mean, of course, when you export less and import more, I mean, it's no one can deny the fact that it's one of the major components that contribute to the weakened domestic or currency largely. And well, there are other factors as well. He mentioned other sectors like the mining industry, for instance, where of course revenues or profit generated from those sectors are repatriated outside, and what it means is that little or insignificant proportions are left within internally. So clearly I agree that there is a major work to be done in that aspect. But let's also not forget about the recklessness of government as well, and the central bank as well. Indeed. So we've dollarized Ghana's economy. That's a fundamental reality. I mean, everything is quoted in dollars as we speak. I mean, even in the real estate sector, it's a terrible thing happening in there. Even to the extent that rental fees are quoted in USD and other currencies as well. So, but it is because they equally do not trust your currency, and by extension the managers of the economy, the managers of the currency. That is basically a verdict on them largely, and you need a drastic decision or solution around this. Fortunately for us, Ghana is an agrarian economy. And we know that there is a huge untapped potential in that sector in terms of production. Now, when we produce, we must add value. Like he mentioned, the infrastructure for adding value is not as robust as we have now. And so what it means is that we may have to look at the way of industrialization, the way of encouraging young Ghanaians, young businesses. And you see, I always say that the small-scale enterprises, when supported hugely, and not this facade or facade of a support that we see from state agencies where they say, oh, we have some grants for business enterprises or young entrepreneurs, and they are arranged for political friends and cronies and party members. You come, you have to show that you're a member of the NPP, you're a card-bearing member of the NPP before you even benefit from these grants. These grants, these facilities must go to real entrepreneurs on the ground, because most of them have been trying in their small ways to add value to what we're already producing. I've seen some young, wonderful entrepreneurs who are into, for instance, rice production. They add value in terms of the processing of the rice. They need the market is there too. It's not the case that the entire, sub-regional space, the continent as well, through the AFTA. I know one lady, Ewanam, who is into skincare products, for instance. She needs support. So we must ensure we target these young entrepreneurs who are trying hard to add value to what we are producing, and by extension also employing, because sometimes even internally you want something, you call a dispatch rider, can you go and deliver this? It's a way of employment. I think the last time I had a conversation with her, she mentioned that she's moving from a garage into a space now where she's looking at having about 10 people instead of the 5 people she used to employ for her skincare products and production and all that. And these are small ways of, first of all, employing people and then adding value to what already exists. Usually we want to look at the big picture. And the solarization, we want to see huge industries, but let us at least discriminate in favor of our own young entrepreneurs who are struggling, who are upcoming. And research indicates that is the area for huge job creation for government as well. I remember when, for instance, this government came to, when in 2017, I think the first thing the GIPC guy did, is it Yofi Grant, was to travel outside of the country to go and look for investors. Of course, we are talking about investment, but first of all, look within, in terms of how we can harness the potentials we have within, extend facilities or support to those that can grow, and then in turn we invest into the economy. Investments come in different forms, but the thinking was, let's go out there, let's go parade the western corridors and see whether we can have these huge investors coming in to come support our investment regime in this country. So I think, yes, it's an issue of political will. It's also an issue of being deliberate, being intentional about these things. It's more like a cyclical thing. We've been talking about this now and then. Every day we have conversations. We have to add value. We need to add value. We need to add value. When we engage in these conversations bereft of the political economic analysis, then we have challenges. Now, so like he mentioned, you have, for instance, importers who fund political parties or politicians. So what that means is that that importer would always ensure that his or her interest is always protected, which is, for instance, if I'm importing frozen chicken from outside, you must ensure that that arrangement still continues, because that's the means by which I fund your engagement largely. What it means is that the poultry industry in Ghana wouldn't receive the necessary support to enable it grow. You get it? So there is always the political economic perspective that we must always situate these conversations in, and that would enable us to at least know where to hit, where to target in terms of addressing the issues. I know when you talk about these things, people will begin to also talk about, okay, then why don't we look at political party financing or funding of political parties? He mentioned that CPP, for instance, they have no means of raising revenue. People who are raising revenue. Yes, in their own party, and so it's a difficulty for them in terms of funding activities. And I think our laws on funding generally political parties are not stringent enough, and we may have to look at that as well. So a confluence of factors lead to this. When you take it from the economic perspective alone, you may lose the mark. But you take it from political economic perspective, at least you are able to see the broader picture, and then it gives you the opportunity to know where to hit, where to target in terms of seeking to address the structural. It's actually a structural issue. This structural issue it's just that in this era, in this NPP era, it's been compounded. That's the unfortunate thing. But it's been a structural issue since time memorial, and unfortunately the acts and actions of this government has compounded the situation of the city largely. Right.
I'll take a few messages and our time is up. Good morning, Mr. ALORMASOR and your panelists. I am Peter Amevianku from Achimota, Efokoku. Do you know what? You see, when you're watching a football game, you know and have all the technicalities of the game until you are made to get onto the pitch to have a feel of how the game truly is. Unfortunately, because this is the usual politics in Ghana, when President Akufo-Addo was in opposition, we're made to believe that his only solution to the perceived difficulty Mahama was talking Ghanaians through, and when taking Ghanaians through, and when he finally got the chance to come and rescue us, this is what we are presented with. May this never happen to us again. Regards to the people of Kwando in the Volta region. This one here says, Baumia will become the next president, from Prophet Michael Kobla Abobo at Olebu. Right. Thank you, Prophet, for your message. Good morning to you and your panelists. Blessed. When they stopped the corruption, the city will be stable. That is the solution, nothing else. Corruption is destroying our country. You guys should make the government resign. Give them pressure, period. Let me get onto Facebook to see if we have some. Let me read a few more messages on Facebook. Bless. SNIT should know that our funds are not meant for government and politicians. How much? I think I've read this one. George Hagan says knowledge talks. Of course it does. Patrick M. Kitia says good morning. Good morning, Patrick. Thank you so much for doing the watching. Gafaru says good morning. Watching live from Janton in the Savannah region. This current administration is full of corrupt, reckless, and corruption, recklessness, and mismanagement. Okay. Good morning, Africa crew. I'm watching live inside Lagos, Nigeria. Keep it up. This one came from Joe Eskin. Sefa says, Haj Seidu says, the Sefa is 25 Ghana cedis. Okay. Emaku Kuedoka says, we'll surely vote them out. Okay, I think that's all. My time is up. We need to get going.
Yeah. So, my brother, to ask before they say, yes, we've seen that the system is not working. We need a change. But I've been telling people, for me, the only genuine change is a change that does not involve the NDC and the NPP. So the strategy is simple. We are voting the NPP out, but we are blocking the NDC from coming to power.
Right.
And that should be the mantra of every Ghanaian.
Right. Thank you very much. Yeremambo Moses Abe. Thank you. Any last words? Any final words?
So I always say that what happens in a political party is to a large extent a mirror reflection of what they may do in government. Now, between the NDC and the NPP today, you can see that the NDC is a more organized political party as we speak. And in terms of policy proposals, in terms of harvesting of ideas, pronouncement of policy statement and all that, the NDC is on the right path compared to the NPP. I mean, between these two political parties, clearly when we go to the polls on 7 December, the NDC has an upper hand in terms of also track record, and particularly the gentleman, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, leading the charge. But again, one may ask how sensible it is to entrust the governance of this country into the hands of a political party that is unable to even, first of all, organize itself. Really? The CPP. Really? I'll end it. Thank you.
Really?
Right. It's been a pleasure. The morning show, the Friday edition, will come your way. I want to thank you so much for your time. It's always a pleasure coming your way with the newspaper review segment of Good Morning Africa. I'll catch you tomorrow. Do have a pleasant day. Bye-bye.